Hi guys, I am coming back to you live. Today I have got a really special guest, someone kind of outside of the box of the norm, but again, coming back to being that resource in our community right now. And any real estate agents that are listening, the more you can be a resource to your clients, the more that we can be a resource even as a title company in this time of madness, and just be that calm that things are going to be okay. That's what we really want to do. And so Kai, I actually talked to him yesterday, and it kind of sparked an idea, or the day before.
Yeah.
Idea, we were chatting about insurance and so much with health and life insurance, and there's so much speculation around people not writing policies or people getting laid off and furloughed. So I really wanted to bring him on here to kind of answer some questions about that, and maybe even that you're able to provide this stuff to some clients in the future. So Kai, introduce yourself and kind of tell us what you do.
Yep. Thanks, Amanda, for having me. Kai, the insurance guy, is what I go by, Kai Morris. So I'm an insurance broker. We run we do a health and life insurance. We're health and life insurance brokerage. So we represent all the carriers in the state for health insurance. And we also represent most of the carriers in the state when it comes to life insurance, et cetera. So that really is what we do. We don't do home. We don't do anything like that, but we are in the health and life world, and we're brokers on that end. So that's what I do.
Yeah. So we've definitely seen you around the real estate community. So I think there was like speculation that you did homeowners insurance, but it's so funny how when we started chatting, I was like, oh, you do life insurance for it. But that's amazing. I'm glad we got a chance to connect. But what I wanted to talk about kind of the most is just really, there's so much around unemployment, and there's so much around, people being furloughed or laid off, or even scared to take on any sort of health or life insurance at this point in time. So really, like, what are some ways that agents can really be a resource for their clients? Let's say they were in the loan process and somehow fell out, or the buy process because they furloughed or they got laid off.
Yeah.
And then they'd be like, you know what, I really want to provide you resources with my insurance guy who can actually help you, if you guys are struggling with insurance or anything like that, just to stay in touch and be that resource.
Yeah. So there's a lot of options, Amanda. Now, of course, clearly with everything that's going on, so many individuals being furloughed, typically what's going to happen is that they're going to lose their benefits through their employment. So normally they're going to have multiple benefits, whether that be health, life, disability, the whole nine. If they're leaving, they're going to give them an option to take those benefits with them. And normally what that option is called is COBRA. So it is a state thing. It's regulated where you have to offer them the ability to take their health insurance, and not to bore everybody, but kind of the way it works is when they offer that to them, the client is going to have to pay the portion of the insurance that the employer was paying for their insurance as well. So if your client maybe was paying $100 a month, maybe they didn't realize that their employer was paying $800 of the additional premium or something like that. It could be a weird, spread on the numbers, and they might have had minimal responsibility, but now they're going to have to pay that entire thing plus an additional 2% to keep that policy. So it's like 102% of the policy to keep that policy. So now, in all essence, you have a client whose income probably has just gotten flat massively to make just unemployment, and they're being asked to pay $8,000-9,000 a month for health insurance. So they don't have to take that; they have options. So one of the big options is going to be they're going to get something called a special enrollment period, Amanda. And how that's going to work is from the date that they lose their coverage, they're going to have 60 days to execute this. So they'll be able to get a plan through the state, and depending on where their income is, they may qualify for what we call a subsidy. So a subsidy is something that would help their premium drastically. What they're going to do is they're going to look at your projected income. So a lot of people's income is clearly being affected massively. So maybe their income in January, they were like, I'm going to make 80 grand this year. But now with this situation and how things are turning out, their income might change dramatically, and they may qualify for a really large amount of subsidy to help them on their health insurance premium and make that extremely affordable. So that's one big option. Another option is going to be getting a private plan outside of COBRA that they can do as well. It's going to still be normally 60 to 70% less than what COBRA would be. So those are going to be, and then of course they could take Cobra, but normally that's not going to be your first option. But there are options where they could really, we've even been able to put clients on free plans because of what's been going on through the state. So that would be extremely advantageous for clients or anyone to go through this.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I love that. So just kind of being that extra resource. So you guys definitely lean on Kai to provide any sort of valuable information to any of your clients that might be going through that unemployment process and wanting to keep those health insurance benefits. There are options, which is amazing. So, even for, people, like, tell us what that health insurance looks like and what you actually do, especially for the realtor community. We were chatting about it, and it seems like, you really help out a lot of real estate agents because a lot of them are 1099 and they're looking for insurance, outside of, a private insurance policy outside of the market. So
100%
for that.
Yeah, so we deal with obviously, so many people in just the real estate industry, and the reason is clearly because they don't get benefits offered to them. So we kind of, our underlying motto in a sense has been trying to give that corporate feel to the self-employed world, so that they still feel like they have that. So there's a lot of private options, and the reason that a lot of realtors struggle as well with even the marketplace is because it asks you to do something that can sometimes be really tricky, which is predict your income. So in the beginning of every year, they say predict your income, and that will let you know if you're going to qualify to be on the marketplace with some sort of subsidy. If you don't get a subsidy, that is something that a lot of them, avoid. And then because it's tough to project their income, most of my realtor friends and clients, they just say, well, I just went without insurance because, you could think you have an idea of what it's going to be, and then one big closing, throw your entire income off, and now you have to pay back all of that subsidy to the government. So that's kind of why you steer away from that. So one of the carriers that, and just to kind of give you just a really in-depth look at what it looks like, is they came back for that reason, and it's United Healthcare. So a lot of you have heard of United Healthcare before, obviously, big company, and they came back with a lot of private plans in the state that would range for 1 year or even up to 3 years. And they would not be based on your income. They don't ask you to prove anything with income whatsoever. They just ask you your age, your zip code, and how many people are going to be on the policy. They even let you a la carte your deductible, if you would, Amanda. So they let you pick it anywhere between $1,000 annually to $12,000, and you can kind of do all those things, put it in your budget. And the savings aspect is huge. So it's normally about 60 to 70% less than what a plan would be on the marketplace without subsidy. That way you're not worried about projecting income. You don't ever have to prove that. It's completely unregulated by like the government stuff and all that. It's just private, completely a private plan. So that's one of the things that I probably have 90% of my realtors on.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
So, I love that. So just offering a resource even to your 1099, friends, and that you're out in the real estate community, right? So just be a resource to them. Going into life insurance is, that's another thing that we chatted about, and sometimes life insurance is one of those things that really gets overlooked. And during this time, I know it sounds crazy, but you probably have those very small policies that come along with your employer or whatever the case may be. Sitting down and really thinking about it. A lot of times people don't do it, and now is like the best time to do it. So tell us a little bit about what people are doing with life insurance, and still writing policies. Are there things that are being restricted on your end?
For sure. So of course, like you hit it on the head. You have these smaller policies through work, and we always joke, and we don't ever mean it in like a malicious way, but it's like life insurance is the one policy I can guarantee you will use at some point, like, on the road forever, etc. So it's an important thing to have. And a lot of times these work policies are just maybe 1 year of your salary or something like that. So it's a good conversation, to look at owning a private plan completely that is a standalone, not connected to work plan. And that the premiums are incredible. I think a lot of people have got the idea that premiums for life insurance are ridiculously high. to get term life insurance, it is so affordable. The average policy is around the 30 to 40 to $50 range, So for a term life insurance policy, to get a really good amount that could protect your family. So that's huge. And so on our end right now, which is really cool, almost in a sense, it's a really rough time, but in a sense, to make it really advantageous for clients, one of the biggest things with life insurance is typically you have to do some sort of pyramid. So everybody's kind of probably heard, someone's going to come out and take my blood or make me do height and weight or something like that to get life insurance. A lot of the top rated carriers right now are suspending that because of COVID-19, but they're not suspending writing policies. So at first, when the notification came down, we were like, okay, so can we not write business? And they were like, no, write a lot of business. We're just not going out to check it because social distancing.
If anyone is not hearing this right now, they need to. That's crazy.
It's huge.
It's massive.
I mean, up to $3 million policies where they're like, we don't care. And I hate to say it like that, but that's really, when you read the verbiage, and I was telling you when we talked on Wednesday, it's like you look at the verbiage and they're like, well, we're good. We'll look at some basic medical stuff. We'll ask you some basic medical questions that I'm going to ask you. We might do a phone call, but if you don't have life insurance, this would be an extremely advantageous time because they're suspending a lot of that coming out and checking. So that's huge right now. So carriers are still issuing. Of course, there's some stipulations. They say if you have COVID, we have to wait 4 weeks until we can do the policy. But that's expected with. Even if you have the flu at the moment, they want to wait a little bit just to make sure you're okay. Really, really, there's so many benefits of life insurance. I think we'll kind of talk about some of the other benefits too, but that's, it's a good time to think about it, and it's so affordable.
Right. Yeah. And I know I was just having a chat with a couple real estate agents the other day where they were just talking about, we need to get life insurance. We need to sit down and start thinking about doing a will and doing all these things that we get so busy and we don't really, and now's the time to really kind of put those wills back on the bus and, make sure that we're coming out of this better than ever. So
100%, and it's so quick, it's so convenient. I mean, and there's so many options. And I think it's just really having that conversation and seeing what's available for you. And the process is not complicated. It's not hard. And it's just peace of mind. When it's done, it's done. You don't ever have to worry about it. And your family's protected. So it's a really good time to think about it.
Yeah. Love that. Okay, perfect. And then just kind of going into, back into the health insurance part of it. I think you touched on this a little bit about reestablishing those benefits. You said there was a 60-day window to wait and reestablish those.
For sure. So if you've lost your coverage, so I'll just kind of paint it for you. So if today you found out you were furloughed, your coverage has to legally cover you till the end of this month through your job. Okay? So coverage all the way to the end of April. From the date of the end of April, the end of April, I'm so bad with how many days are in each month. Forgive me.
Okay. I always have to sing the song in my head too.
So, my mom used to do the knuckle thing, and I was like, but anywho, but at the end of April, from that point, you have 60 days to get onto the marketplace in order to exercise your special enrollment period.
Okay.
So that is what clients want to remember. I know a lot of people are going to want to jump right on it anyway, but it's just a good thing to remember because they'll say, I lost my coverage in February, and it's we're already coming up on that mark of when you can exercise that enrollment period to get onto the marketplace to get help for your health insurance premium. If you're going, there is no 60-day window. If you're doing one of those United plans, that can happen 365 days a year. But for the exchange, you're going to want to make sure you keep within that 60-day window, Amanda.
Sure. So, I mean, obviously during the time of crisis, there are a ton of companies coming out with different ways to help the economy and help people, even if they aren't laid off or furloughed, but maybe they're just having, financial distress. Do you know of any carriers right now that are, waiving any premiums or deferring them or doing anything at this point?
So what the marketplace is doing, and we've helped a ton of people over the last couple of weeks, is they're just encouraging people to adjust their income because then what you'll see is that premium drop dramatically. So just for example, we took a client that was paying a $600 premium down to paying $19.50, $19 a month. by adjusting their income based on how this has affected their business.
Okay.
So these are kind of what like the marketplace is going to do. So like your Florida Blue and Better, for anybody that has those carriers. And of course, you can always ask me and I can answer questions privately. But that's what you want to do there. The private carriers still have not issued any type of premium relief notices, to be completely honest. They are caring about their grace period. If you can't pay, they're going to still give you a pretty large grace period while they keep the policy force. We're still waiting for that update, to be honest with you, Amanda, to see what a lot of the private carriers are going to do.
Yeah, it seemed like a lot of them, a lot of companies just started rolling out some things. Like yesterday, we heard about the USAA. So that was great, giving them a reduction for 2 months, things like that. So definitely, you guys stay in touch with Kai, follow him on Facebook. I'm sure he's going to give a ton of updates anytime it comes out. But one other thing I just wanted to touch on was some other kind of interesting supplemental policies that you and I had talked about as well, and how they're pretty inexpensive, and things that people can do to protect, if certain things happen or they can't pay their deductibles.
Yeah, so that's something that we're huge with, is supplemental coverage, and it's so affordable. So for instance, one of the most popular policies we write is almost like a gap policy for your medical plan, and it's so cheap. So like if something was to happen, Amanda, and you were to land up in the hospital overnight, they would issue you a massive check to cover whatever, your deductible would be, and they pay that directly to you. So for instance, you have a $5,000 deductible, you could get a check for $4,000 for days after you get out the hospital, and they send that to you to help you. And then they have daily ones that'll pay you like $1,000 a day, and you can just set that for as many days as you want. So not only is it, good to cover that health insurance aspect, but in a time where maybe you don't have any income and you've been in the hospital, it can replace that, so that's huge. We also do really affordable ones like critical illness. God forbid you would ever get diagnosed with anything critical, and they could replace your income for the entire year. And these are policies that on average are going to run you, you're anywhere from sometimes $6 a month to, $20, $30, $40 a month, just depending on the policy size, but really good things that you can kind of roll into your portfolio that can really help you just protect, your assets and just protect your income and lifestyle.
Yeah, I think that's so important, just having those supplemental things that obviously we don't think of. So there's no playbook on this. There's no playbook on what's going to happen. Like
exactly.
Those certain supplemental things, if you can put those in place right now, are super important.
Exactly.
Yeah. Another thing that we had talked about, and something that I actually have myself, is a really interesting life insurance / investment combination that I was introduced to about 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Have been making some serious investments into it, called an IUL. And I actually went to a real estate mastermind in Key West, and there was somebody talking about IULs, and real estate agents got really excited. And I think, like one of those hidden secrets, I think it's a great investment plan with the death benefit added onto it.
Yeah.
That you can draw money out of, like when your kids go to college, like certain life events like that. So just kind of briefly touch on that, and just with the volatility of the market, it's actually really kind of, I guess, a safe harbor kind of place when it comes to adjusting with the market.
Huge. So IULs are really, really cool. And like myself, having those policies is awesome. So pretty much it's a permanent life insurance policy that also has a cash value aspect of it. The cash value portion is actually attached to an index of the market. But the really beautiful thing about these policies is that they have a floor. So of course, over the last 30 days, we've seen really, really volatile times in the market. The market's been down 30-40% at times, and people have lost a lot of money during those times. One of the beautiful things about these policies is nobody in these policies have lost any money whatsoever. It's literally, we have them, and it's just like the statement is they didn't lose a dime. So they have a floor, and then they credit every year based on how the market's doing. So you're normally doing exactly what the market's doing on average, but you protect yourself from those years with catastrophic losses. And then there's also that death benefit attached to it. So if anything was to ever happen, it still is a life insurance policy, and your family can go ahead and collect that if anything was to ever happen to you. And the great thing about these policies is they build up such a great amount of cash value in them as they compound over years. Then what happens is there's a certain age, you turn it on in a sense, like you're talking about, with whether it be a life event or etc., and it'll start paying you every month a check from the policy's cash value. And because consider it a withdrawal, or in a sense a loan against the policy's cash value, you're not paying taxes on that. So it's a huge, I love having that conversation. It's an awesome product, especially if you're self-employed, etc., and you're maxing out other investment vehicles. It's another great thing to have as part of your retirement portfolio, because it's really going to, give you those advantages in the tax department compared to a lot of those other traditional vehicles that you're going to get hit with that current day tax rate down the road. So it's a beautiful thing, and it's extremely affordable, as you know, and something you can really max out and do some awesome stuff with.
Yeah, definitely. And I think I can speak for most people in the real estate community, is like when you show us a graph that has this accumulation value and you're like, I can have that, in a certain time, you're all for it. So I definitely encourage anybody that's listening that wants kind of a safe haven for investments, or is maxing out other 401ks and things like that, to contact you, because an IUL has definitely been super beneficial for me. And you can also set it up for kids too, right? So
huge for kids. You set them up for just success. It's cool. Yep.
Good. Anything else you want to add as far as, reaching out to you? How can the real estate community really be a resource for you as well, whether it be putting you in touch with small business owners, or what is your real niche when it comes to that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so I love servicing, anybody self-employed. That's been our niche for, since I've started this. It kind of just happened that way in realtors. I love working with a lot of my clients' customers, because most of the realtors that I know, they're just incredible people. So they have put me in contact directly with, like you said, whether the deal has fell apart or the deal happened, they've put me in contact with people because they've been going through something. So they can feel free to share my direct cell number with any of their personal clients. And, I can do whatever I have to do to take care of them as well. So I love doing that type of stuff. If there's anything we can do to just be a resource, we're here for it, and we have been for years. We want to just serve whoever, if obviously we all kind of live local, if you know anybody in Orlando, in Central Florida, wherever they may be, and they're just lost with, I don't even know what to do. There's no pressure when having a conversation with any of us. Just want to navigate and try to figure it out for you too. It's not about anything else. So if we can be a resource, that's all that matters for us.
Awesome. Just somebody that can simplify insurance. It's like gold, right? Because all of us are lost when you even start talking about insurance, and it's no one's favorite subject ever. I even that in title insurance, like you never hear me talk about title insurance because nobody really wants to talk about it. They need to have it. And I think the same kind of goes for you, but I think you give a little bit more of that relationship, one-on-one touch of this is what's most important to walk you through what's best for your family.
Yeah, we want to, we kind of have something called protection for life. And, we just want to make sure that whatever stage you're in, you're good. And, it's in your budget, and that's the conversation we have with everybody. We want to know, what are you comfortable with? And then what matters most to you? And let's see how good we can do and see, if we can protect you. And stuff happens. So that's one thing about us, is that you always have a broker you can call, and you can call me. And anybody that sees this, I know so many people that probably I know will see this. They can call me anytime, answer a question, make changes based on stuff happening. That's just what we do. So, we love that. And that's what we live for, is just to have those relationships.
Yeah. Those things are gold. I think a lot of people just didn't even know you can make changes when things like this happen. So I really appreciate you. Any other final words of wisdom you want to give us in your life and health insurance world?
Oh gosh, words of wisdom. Right now, we've just been trying to stay as positive as possible. Even on our end, seeing certain things, I'm learning, just learning and continually practicing to just focus on the positive and be as human as possible, connect with as many people as possible. And just, I think love and energy is just so contagious. So just continue to spread that positivity. You don't know how that could help somebody else that maybe is going through. And that's just huge. So just stay positive as a community and we're going to get through this.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much, Kai. I appreciate your positivity, your energy. It's definitely contagious. If you'll do me a favor and put all your details in the comments here whenever we
Yeah, for sure.
podcast, and if anyone wants to reach out to Kai, I want to say that for somebody that like really cares about people and is selling something like health and life insurance, it's very rare to find. So I really appreciate you and what you do, and you guys. He's going to be a resource, whether it's for yourself or for your clients, and you can't find a better person than that. So I appreciate you.
Thanks.
And if you need anything, let us know. And thank you guys so much for tuning in.
Bye, guys.
Bye.